Hello, Mick, naturalist from Dodge Nature Center. Today we are going to learn all about historical fire making. When I was a kid, I tried a bunch of times to light a fire with flint and steel and with magnifying glasses. And it never really worked. I could make a spark or I could burn a hole in a piece of paper, but I could never get a fire lit. I was missing two important things, two secrets that make the whole thing work. And it's things that our ancestors knew about. One of those secrets is a good tinder bundle. Nice stuff that's going to catch fire really, really easy. The second secret is char cloth. Now, people have been using charred material for a really, really long time. The Vikings even made something called fire felt out of mushrooms and urine, but it worked the same way. It's able to take a spark or some heat from the sun and start a fire. To make our tinder bundle, that first secret, at Dodge Nature Center, when we're doing it for lots and lots of kids, what we use is just jute twine. What you're gonna do is take some of this twine, can get it anywhere, and you're gonna cut it into little pieces. And with each of these little pieces, what's gonna happen is you're gonna untwist them and basically poof them out. You're gonna pull them all apart and make a little, kind of looks like a bird nest, out of the pieces of jute twine. Now we have our poof. Now you're going to need about 10 to 12 3-inch pieces of string. Okay, the sun is shining bright. So what's going to happen now is you're going to take your magnifying glass. I have a big one right here. And what we're going to do is focus that light onto, make it the tiniest little spot onto our char cloth. And it's going to be bright, so don't stare at it for too long. And what's going to happen is you're going to make that dot of light on the char cloth. You might see a wisp or two of smoke, and already our char cloth is lit. It is glowing orange, which means that it is a hot coal. So I'm going to put it in my tinder bundle, and notice it's starting to smoke already. Smoke is coming out of our little nest. Now, with a couple puffs of air, be careful you don't light your burnt beard on fire. And we have a fire. It's that simple. On a bright sunny day like today, you saw how easy the magnifying glass was to start our fire. But if the sun's not shining, you need another historical method to get your fire started. And for that, we're still going to use our tinder bundle of jute twine, and we're still going to use our char cloth, but this time we're going to use flint and steel to make our fire. Flint and steel is a little trickier. What's going to happen, the steel is actually being cut by the flint. And when you do this, it makes sparks. The hard part is you have to catch the spark on the char cloth. So sometimes people put the little piece of char cloth on top of the flint, sometimes below the flint. Sometimes you get that spark on the very first shot. Sometimes it takes a little while. It just all depends. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens here. We're gonna try below first. No, we're going to try above. Oh, I got it. Look at that. 2 strikes. Our little char cloth is now glowing orange, just like it did with the magnifying glass. So this is now a burning coal. It's not going to burst into flames, but it will burn your fingers. That's where you need your tinder bundle. Our piece of char cloth from the flint and steel is in our tinder bundle. It is starting to smoke. Just like with the magnifying glass, a few breaths, and we have fire, how you can make char cloth at home. We're going to use old denim, and we are going to use our cookie tin. What's going to happen is the denim is going to be cooked in the cookie tin under a low oxygen environment. That will allow it to char, to partially combust. And when it's done, then even the littlest heat from the magnifying glass or a littlest spark will start it to burn. So how we do this is we're going to take the lid off, and this is where our screw or nail and our hammer come in. What's going to happen is you're going to pound a hole in the center of that lid. It doesn't have to be very big, just a nice tiny little hole. That's all you need to do to your cookie tin. Now we're going to take our denim, and you want to cut it into little squares, maybe about an inch and a half by an inch and a half, and you're going to cut those squares and put them into the tin. The trick with the denim, it can't be stretchy jeans. Stretchy jeans aren't 100% cotton. The material that you're going to use to make your char cloth has to be 100% natural, and it needs to be a pretty dense weave, which is why denim works as good as it does. In the past, like I said, people used mushrooms. The Vikings used a mushroom to make their charred fire felt. A very, very dense linen will work as well. But that old pair of jeans, a perfect thing to get turned into char cloth. You don't want to pack the tin completely full. You want to have there be a little bit of air in there. But we have a nice tin filled with cut up pieces of denim. At this point, all you would do was put the lid on, and it's ready to go in your fire. Okay, we have our tin full of cut up denim. Take your cooking tongs, and you are going to truly just set this right in the fire. The smoke starting to pour out of that tin. That's what you want to see. That's the denim starting to combust, but not fully combust. That's what's going to make our char cloth. Don't worry if your tin gets all burnt. Don't worry if the paint burns off. That's fine. Every now and then, what you can do is kind of shake it around a little bit to make sure that it's all combusting well. Look at the smoke pour out of that tin. The smoke has stopped coming out of the hole. It's now time to take it out of the fire. Place the tin someplace where it can just cool. Now the trick is, don't open it until it is cool to the touch. It's been cooling now for about 40 minutes. Now it is nice and cool to the touch. At this point, you can take the lid off. What was denim is now pieces of char cloth. Perfect to use with your flint and steel. Perfect to use with your magnifying glass. And you too can make your very own historical fires. Thank you for watching this video on historical fire making. And thank you once again for supporting Dodge Nature Center and Preschool.